the
Oh, yeah.
Riverside.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put my other tabs just super quick in a separate
I
window just so that if I need to share my screen later.
yeah, I think we are live.
Oh,
Yes. Hello
awesome.
everyone. Um,
Hi.
People are saying hi. Maybe you can quickly drop in the chat where you guys are watching from, some what country or what city. But other than that, let's kick it off. Hi everyone. Hello Kate. We are here today with Kate Hall. Kate Hall is one of the most sought after social media coaches for authors. Kate, you have taught thousands of students, thousands of authors already how to promote books on social media, how to make a living with your books on social media. You yourself are promoting your books successfully. And we're super happy to have you today and learn from
Mhm.
your experience, learn also a bit more about you, about yourself as a person, what your frameworks are that you teach, your learnings from dealing
Mhm.
with that many students, also your own book promotion. Yeah, so very much looking forward to this session today.
Yeah, awesome. I see that we have somebody here from Missouri. Your nickname is Mighty Bean Casey. I live about 2 hours south of you, out by Joplin, so that's pretty fun. Yes, so I have been self-publishing since 2020, actually since 2019. I like to tell people I've been publishing since 2019, but I have been successfully publishing since 2020, which was when I swapped over to being a full-time author. And then by the end of 2020, I started teaching authors a little bit about just my writing process because I was able to write books so quickly. And then in 2023, I started marketing books for other authors. I actually ran an agency where I would do it for other people. I no longer do that because it was a lot of work and a lot of people. Um, Also, if you see me moving around, it's because this guy is in my lap. Marvin would know that he was sitting behind me in our meeting earlier, so
That's
he's a
Jack,
little bit
right?
clingy. Yep, it's Jack the cat. Um, but anyway, so then I started my courses, and those have blown up, and I've helped um, through the courses alone over 3,000 authors do more and make more money through social media. And then through my YouTube channel, another, I want to say I'm just hit 15,000 subscribers. Although publicly, I think it only shows 14,000 of them because it only shows the ones who have public profiles. Um, Apparently, our
Somebody's
microphones are not
somebody's
working
saying
for
that they can't
some
hear us,
people.
but everyone else can hear us, right? Yeah, I think if people weren't able to hear us, more people would be complaining.
Right.
Maybe it's something on your end.
Yeah, I think it might be on someone else's. And I think we have a couple people having technical difficulties. Um, Refreshing the page might help them out. Um, or using a different browser.
Some people say, yeah. I think let's just
Yeah.
continue. Anyways, the
Okay,
live
yeah.
will be up. Okay, so to summarize, you started writing. You had a very good approach at writing. You were fast, so you first
Mm-hmm.
consulted on writing. You started your agency. But before everything, you were an author, right? Or did you start with the marketing first?
Yes. I started with the books first, as far, well, you know what? I guess you bring up a good point. I actually started just working for myself and doing freelance with marketing, and I learned from the drop shipping side of things. I worked for a company that used drop shipping for their business model, and I was in charge of their marketing strategy, and I learned a lot through them. And then I wrote down a operations guidebook, and that person ghosted me and then hired someone in a different country for like $2 an hour. Um, because they had my guidebook that taught them everything. But I started being really successful through the author stuff,
Mm-hmm.
especially starting in 2020 when I started publishing romance. And I've just learned so much about not just writing books, because while I have written and published 30 books since 2020, maybe 35, it's 30 something books since 2020. A lot of it has been about the marketing side of things, and that's something I think a lot of people struggle with. They say, I want to write my books, but I don't want to market them. And you know what? I don't want to
Mhm.
market my books either. It's a pain. I hate doing it. It takes forever, or at least it used to.
Yes.
um,
But so coming from both the like teaching how to write and teaching how to market, you found your passion in the marketing more than in the teaching how to write. Am I right?
very much so. So, um, no offense to everyone of the gender that is not mine, but I actually found my true passion in helping women get super rich.
Mm-hmm.
I discovered that after I had started teaching the side of things like the TikTok marketing and social media marketing and Facebook ads and all of that. I started learning that my real passion was um, helping women get rich.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's with every single thing, that is my goal and that's my passion. Although I do like writing, as somebody asked whether I write spicy or closed door, I write super duper spicy books. Although a lot of people that have done my stuff have also done closed door romance and done really, really well with it. In fact, I was at 20 books to 50K before it turned into Author Nation. I was at the convention in 2023, and somebody looked at me and they asked me, they said, hey, can we do well with um, some sort of non-conventional thing, whether it is being wide and not being in Kindle Unlimited, or whether it's doing closed door romance. And as they asked me that, I got a message from one of my clients that said, oh my God, I just got my first $1,000 day from my sales doing this. And she was not writing, specific, super dark, romantic-y, spicy romance. She was writing non-spicy contemporary romance, and she was publishing wide, so she wasn't Kindle Unlimited exclusive. Um,
Okay. But from all of the students that you've taught, are a majority in romance or are also other genres represented?
we have a few other genres, but most of it is for sure romance.
Okay. Okay. How did you yourself discover that you have a talent for storytelling?
Um, well, I'm a huge nerd, so that certainly helps. I actually have been writing and coming up with stories since I was little. Actually, my husband was cleaning out a closet, so we currently live in a home that my mom owns, and then we are buying and building a home while we live in this one. And my husband was cleaning out closets, and he found books that I had written from when I was 7 years old.
Oh, wow.
So storytelling has always been a big thing for me. Um, Also, I have a very specific disability called being able to shut the fuck up. Sorry for the language, but um, yeah. So I'm never not talking or having something to say. So I've always got something to say. I've always got a new story to tell. And I find that works really, really well with the marketing side, is being able to understand this type of story and evaluating the structure of what you're trying to tell and the emotions you're trying to elicit. And I think that being an author gives us a massive advantage with marketing, because we can evaluate the context and what emotions we're trying to elicit when we're writing the book. We just have to take those properly and move them into our marketing.
And if you had to summarize what made you such an efficient writer, what would be your hacks? Did you dictate or did you have another kind of hack to write that fast?
So, um, I started at outlining is the basis of it. I read about the snowflake method, where you start with basics of the structure, and then you write out what the chapters are, and then you write out from there. So I started from that, but I used a 3-act structure story plot that I learned in college, because when I went to university, I actually went for film production and learned um, a lot about like story structure. And so every single book I write, I start with that 3-act structure, which has 13 story plots, or 16, sorry, story plots. And I start with that. And then if I ever get stuck when writing the book, then I'll go into each plot point and plot out each chapter as well. And then once those are plotted out properly, I can write 5 to 10,000 words a day. Not consistently, not every day, but back in especially 2020, when I was publishing a book almost every single month, it was very, very useful to be able to write that fast. I've scaled down significantly now. Like I said, most of my passion is in teaching and it is in helping other people. So while I do still publish, it's not quite as frequent.
Yeah. So your main passion now is really teaching your frameworks, passing your knowledge on to other people, and
Mm-hmm.
helping them make a living,
Yeah.
or as you say, make them rich.
Yes, exactly. Every time I make a local friend, they're like, "Oh man, I'm so broke right now." And I'm like, "Have you heard the good word about writing smut books?" I feel like I'm trying to introduce an MLM to them or something. I'm like, you
Okay.
know, I use the Avon or the whatever those old makeup MLMs were, or the uh LuLaRoe leggings of the internet is what I feel like sometimes. But I'm like, no, this is an actual thing that works. Um,
So somebody's asking
Also,
for
Sydney,
what pen names
I
you're
write
using.
under, yeah, so my two main pen names are Kate Hall and Alexis Pierce, and then some of my Alexis Pierce books are listed as Alexis Pierce and Natalie Berry. Natalie Berry doesn't exist. She's simply a distinction to tell if my um, paranormal romance books are MF versus RH. RH is reverse harem or white shoes, which is like one girl with like multiple boyfriends, versus MF, which is one girl and one guy. So that's just the distinction there. So I technically have three pen names that I'm actively writing under, although I have several others that are either inactive or that I haven't published under yet. Because I'm starting like a science fiction pen name, I'm starting a lit RPG pen name. Um, so I have several, and I'm always working on something. And then I have several books that I have been working on this year. And part of the reason I haven't really published this year is because I have a literary agent who is going to who's pushing my books out to like big five publishers. So we have a few projects we're planning out there. I have not been invited to Author Nation. But if they invite me, I'll certainly show up and do a panel because I love talking, if you couldn't tell.
Yes, we will be at Author Nation, and happy to meet everyone here in the crowd also. Um, okay, so it seems like you're very busy. You have your own writing, you have your agent trying to submit to publishers, you have your agency, but you said you closed that, but you have your teaching business, your courses. And now let's talk a bit about the moment where you decided to make teaching or your courses kind of a main pillar of your business, right? I can imagine that it's kind of you have to decide, okay, do I want to like focus more on my writing or promoting myself or help
Mhm.
other people? How was that decision making?
Um, it was pretty simple, really, because I was making in the year 2023 when I started and was consulting and helping others with their marketing. I was marketing pretty successfully and making between 5 to 10K a month in 2023. And then the first month, or the first 3 months, I should say, that my courses existed. For one, that was the year that I went to 20 books to 50K and got to meet a lot of people in person and got to talk with a lot of women and encourage them. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what I meant to do.
Yeah.
But also in those 3 months, I made $120,000 and was like,
Okay.
yeah, teaching is better. But I do still love writing and I still make decent money from my writing.
Yeah.
Um, I got pretty lazy with the marketing because I've been focusing on the marketing of my courses and stuff. Um, but it kind of goes back and forth on whether or not I put effort into it. And I know if I
Yeah.
put more effort into it, I'll make more money. The
Mhm.
books are always there. There's always
Mhm.
at least 30 books for me to market if I want to. It just depends on if I feel like it, really, which is very freeing in itself, I
Yeah.
think.
The cool thing is since you do both, you can test new strategies and the things that are
Mm-hmm.
working out, then you can implement it right away into your teaching. So you really know what you're talking about. How was then your journey of becoming a coach? I'm sure you had like the first few consultations, and then you got better, and then eventually you moved into recorded courses. Tell us a bit
Hmm.
about this journey. Like, how did you sit down, and how did you come up with the frameworks that you're teaching?
So the first thing that I started with was making content for other authors. I actually made content for other authors before I started making content for my own books. At this point, I had a 14 book saga that covered 4 series, and I wasn't marketing it, and I was barely making like $200 a month off of it. And my laptop had broken. I couldn't even write and work on other books. And one of my friends said, "Hey, I know you're broke. Do you want a little bit of money to run a TikTok account for me?" And I said, "Never done it. Hell yeah."
Yeah.
Um, so I started with her, and then she said, "I have this other person who needs someone to run the account." And then that person was like, "I have this other person who needs an account run." And I took on way too much at once because this was 2023. 20 end of 2022, early 2023. Everybody wanted to be on TikTok, but nobody wanted to do it. So I took on way too many people. People fell through the cracks. I issued a lot of refunds,
Yeah.
made a lot of mistakes, because shockingly, I'm not perfect all the time. I know it seems like it. But then I actually I decided to stop doing work for other people, but somebody asked, "Hey, I have somebody who just needs to learn how to do it. Would you be willing to consult with this person?" Um, and that person is actually the person who told me, "Hey, you should do a course
Yeah.
because you can teach 1 to 3 people a week." And my rate was $300 a meeting or $200 a meeting or something at that point. My new rate is like $500 a meeting. But I could teach a couple of people a week reasonably without burning myself out. But by doing a course, I could teach everybody. And so, with her inspiration, I was still working one on one with people. I would take notes in every meeting to see what questions people had and where people were struggling. And I realized I don't know what you don't know. So, for example, somebody could come to me, somebody could show up, and they don't know how to find the TikTok app. They don't know how to download an app on their phone. So I was like, well, that needs to be included in the course because if they're buying the course on how to do TikTok, they need to be able to download the app. But on the flip side, there are going to be people who are pretty technologically advanced, who know things but haven't quite figured out the algorithm, who haven't figured out how to make posts that convert. And so I needed to make content for them as well. One of my very first students was actually a lady named Lucy Eden, and she paid what was originally $99 for the course. Just through the end of 2020, it was that price. And she paid that money for the course and said, "It's only $99. It must be a scam." And then she took the first section of the course, which was, "Here's how to download TikTok." And she was like, "This is definitely a scam." And then the next video was like, "Buckle up, mother cuss
Yeah.
words, because we are going into how the algorithm works and how you need to make content for the algorithm. And here's how to specifically make book talk content for it, and non-face content versus face content, and like all of this other stuff." And she was like, "Why is this $99? This is an insane amount of content." It's no longer $99, but it's really not that expensive either. I'm not the person with a $5,000 course, and I never will be.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I got started with it. Is I just kind of out of necessity, I guess, is I was doing it for other people, and that was too hard to keep up with because it was a lot of accounts, a lot of profiles. Honestly, if somebody wanted to run accounts for people now, I would, I know this is going to sound like an ad, but I would recommend them to use AuthorScale for those. Use a phone to optimize the account initially, and then swap that account over to AuthorScale and use that to push the accounts, whether it's through Instagram Reels or through TikTok or whatever, because the amount of time that it took back in 2023 when I had to do it all on my own through phones. I bought probably 4 iPhones just off of Facebook Marketplace. I met so many shady dudes in parking lots, y'all. It was so much harder than it is now. Although the views are lower now than they were 3 or 4 years ago, but making the content is easier. And so it's easier to be more consistent and to post every day. And when you post every day, you're getting that accumulation of content and accumulation of views, because it's not just these are the views I got today, so these are the views these are the views that might convert to sales today. It's these are the views I got from my post today and yesterday and the day before and a month ago, and like it accumulates. So the more consistent you are over a long period of time, the more money you're going to make.
Yeah.
So I started using AuthorScale again. I had practiced with it back when you guys were a little baby app, and I was like, this isn't quite saving me time yet. And then you called me a couple months ago and were like, Kate, it's better. You've got to use it, please. And I did, and it's so much better. And I have 20 accounts logged in. I'm not even kidding. I have 20 accounts. 16 of them are TikTok accounts. 4 of them are Instagram accounts. Through my AuthorScale, I don't even touch my phones anymore for work. And it's just, and I've been doing it for, what did we determine? Like a month and a half, 2 months almost, 2 months.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's,
Let's maybe talk about your entire author scale workflow in a bit. But before,
yeah.
you've spent, I don't know, countless hours on teaching other people how to write hooks, how to market books on social media. If you had to condense those thousands of hours into like a few gold nuggets or pieces of knowledge, what are the most important things? How do you go from book to publishing on those social media platforms? What are the hooks that you focus on? What are the scenes that you pick? What's kind of yeah, what's the magic sauce?
Okay. You've opened the gates. This is going to be, let me cross my legs and sit up a little bit because this is going to be a whole thing. You have just opened a whole can of worms. So, top things that you need to understand when you are marketing your books through social media, the things that make people buy things, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you are selling them a bar of soap or if you are selling them the, next epic straight book to movie, whatever, or if you are selling them a Lamborghini. You are not selling them the item, you are selling them what they are feeling about it. So, as authors, we have a wonderful opportunity, right? We create these books and we have an intention of what we want people to feel from these books. So, Gemstringer, I'm literally about to talk about what I decide what's a good fit. It's this is what I'm going into. It's wonderful. We have this wonderful opportunity as authors because we already know what we want people to feel. Whether it is, sad from writing something tragic, or whether we want to break somebody's heart with some angst in a book, or if we just want them to be happy and enjoy a fun ride with something more fluffy, or if we want them to just be horny, whatever. We know what we want people to feel. Side note, if you're wanting people to just be horny about your books, I only do Instagram for any spicy content. Marvin is like, why are we talking about this? I only post anything related to spicy stuff on Instagram because they're a little bit less strict with their moderation than TikTok is. Anything spicy, I don't post on TikTok. I don't even post about people kissing on TikTok because TikTok is a butthead, and it's because of everything that went down in 2023 with them trying to ban TikTok, and then 2024 with them successfully banning TikTok, and then 2025 with it getting bought by the US, blah, 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 blah. Lots of things. Don't post spicy content on TikTok. So what you're going to do is you're going to find scenes that evoke specific emotions. And it's not a scene where a character is saying, I'm so sad. My family was murdered and I'm going to get the bad guy, because people can't relate to that. We don't get strong feelings about that, even if our main character feels really bad about it. But you can take that same feeling. I have one client who wrote a book called The Regolith Temple by Roxana Arama. It was a really great book. This is not sponsored at all, but it's a book I read and worked on for a client. Not a romance book at all. It was straight sci-fi. The guy was married and was having marital troubles because of his job that literally locked him in the building and wouldn't let him leave because he created like an AI of himself. Like he turned his brain and put it in a robot. And that's like the big plot of the book. And there's a scene in the book in which his mother passes away and his job emails him. They don't call him, they email him to tell him about it. And then they say, obviously, you can't go to the funeral. So that scene we can all relate to, even though we've never had our evil conglomerate boss secretly murder our mom and then claim that she drowned. We've never done that, mostly. If you have, just like let me know in a comment, because I
Yep.
gotta know about it. That's insane. But most of us haven't had that. But most of us have worked a shit job where we've said, hey, I have an emergency, I need to leave, or I need the day off. And your boss is like, I mean, we really need you in though. Like, we're authors. Of course, we've all worked a terrible job, and that's why we don't want to work at those jobs anymore, right? We want to be able to work for ourselves. We want to be able to be there for our family in an emergency or something. Um, so that specifically is like making people feel a sense of loneliness, of insecurity, is just, it's so juicy. And I like to use the phrase, because it's really a disgusting phrase, I like to use the phrase emotional juice. We are wringing the emotional juice out of the scene, and pouring it directly into people's social media feeds. We're putting it right in there. And we are, the great thing, one thing that I like to do, like when I do the Kindle screenshots, is I can cut out the bits that aren't relevant to the scene. So if it's a long scene that's like 3 pages, then I'm going to cut it down to just those emotionally juicy bits. I'm going to break it down into the things that matter to understand our hook. So if it is a couple that is going through the third act breakup or something, then I'm going to cut out the backstory about how, you know, the evil villain is also trying to murder them, because that's not what matters for the scene. The part that matters for the scene is that, you know, she declared her love for this guy and he didn't say it back. Because it evokes loneliness and insecurity in us, because humans are so very hardwired to not be alone, that the fear of being rejected in like a romantic way is so deep that we feel like we're going to die. And it is on purpose, because when we were, you know, hundreds of thousands of years ago, we lived in caves and tiny villages, and if you got kicked out and there was no other human being for hundreds of miles, and you had to go find somewhere else to live on your own, you would probably get eaten by a tiger or die of exposure or run out of food or something. There were a million things that could kill you. So we're hardwired to feel pain from rejection, and people want to feel justice about that situation. One example of this is that I had a client whose book was a cheating redemption arc. It was a romance book that was, this woman and her husband had been married for 20 years, and he was just a serial cheater. He was always cheating on her. So she finally was like, you know what, screw it, I'm done, I'm dumping him. And he gets on his knees and begs her to stay. And the reason that that video always went viral is because people want her to kick that dude in the nuts. They need to know what she does. They need to know how she responds. They need to know that things are okay for her because she was treated badly. She was rejected in this way. They need to see that things get better. And that's what sells the book, is the feeling of needing that justice for the emotional juice that we wrung out of the scene. So we pick those scenes where people will feel that loneliness and they want that to get fixed, right? And then we take those, we condense them down. On TikTok, I do slideshows that are like 25 to 35 slides. I never go under 25 slides, because 25 slides, it takes people an average of 2.5 seconds to look at one slide. So on average, if you have 25 slides, that's 62.5 seconds. And TikTok specifically rewards content that is more than a minute long, that people are staying on for more than a minute. So it's more likely to go viral if people scroll through your whole thing. If people aren't scrolling through your whole thing, then you have a scene issue where it's not compelling enough. And I also never do walls of text. I do one little sentence on each slide. I never do a whole wall of text unless it is that. Kathleen, we're going to do links at the end, but yes, I promise we will get there. And they'll probably be in the description once this is, once the live is saved on YouTube as well. Spoiler alert, AuthorScale has a discount for you guys. But yeah, so having those scenes and then having a really strong hook at the beginning, because the first 3 seconds is the most important part of any piece of content. I use a really basic hook structure for every single post that I make. There is one post I make that doesn't use this structure, and it's because the dialogue is so compelling on the first slide that I don't have the hook on that first slide versus the dialogue, because Like it's just so compelling and it makes people want to read more. But if it doesn't immediately start with something extremely compelling, extremely interesting, messed up, something that gets people to want to scroll, you need to have that hook at the beginning. So my hook structure for every single one is when, character archetype plus conflict. So for the one where, because, you know, we get a lot of romance. A lot of people don't write romance, though. I know a lot of y'all are romance writers. But for a non-romance example, let's look at the regolith temple. When your evil boss won't let you go to your mom's funeral, or when your evil boss emails you to tell you that your mom just died. People are going to be like, there's an inherent conflict in that, right? We have that archetype, we have the evil boss, but we also have the conflict of your mom died and your boss is the one who told you about it. And you know for a fact if they're an evil boss, there's inherent conflict in the fact that they told you because they told you in a bad way, because they're evil, right? So the hook, it's something about the book, but it's not direct. It's not a direct sentence from the book. So another example, like for my books, I might say, like for, let's go with this one as an example. Yeah, maybe if I can get it out. So for example, for this one, which is one of my Kate Hall contemporary romances, I might say, when your fake billionaire husband ignored you at dinner all night. Because being ignored, especially by someone that is supposed to care about us, or in this case is supposed to fake care about us, it feels like shit. People want to know. People want him to get kicked in the shins. And then somebody asked, I always stay in second person POV because it gets somebody, it kind of tosses them directly in the scene and makes them feel like, you know, they are the one involved. And I always do, especially for romance, I always do the female character's point of view, where you are the main female character, because it gets people more in the scene. And then I cut out any extraneous details that don't matter. The only time I include names in my scenes are when I'm doing like one of my RH books and I'm like, there are 5 dudes. I'm not going to use a character archetype for every one of these 5 dudes that's in the scene. I'm not going to be like, when the nerdy one says this to the grumpy one. I'm not going to do that. It's too much. But other than that, I won't even use names. Like if it's a scene between the demon rock star and the pop star, then I'll just be like, when you find out that the demon rock star is in love with you or whatever. And then throughout the scene, I'll just replace his name because his name is Joseph. Like that's such a basic fucking name. And we've probably all met somebody named Joseph that sucks. So I'm not going to put his name in the scene because that might throw somebody out of it. And they'll find out his name when they go read the book. And if it's a deal breaker at that point, when they're already emotionally invested, that's no longer my problem. So our goal with the posts is to get people emotionally invested initially and then get them to go on to Amazon. And that's where when they're going to read your blurb. We don't want blurbs in our scripts, right? In our TikTok hooks, in our scripts. We're not doing blurbs because guess what? They can read the blurb on Amazon. Our goal is to get them to the Amazon page or to our storefront or to our TikTok shop page. That's our goal with this. Our goal with this, with our post, is not to get someone to buy the book. Our goal is to get them to the next step towards buying the book or towards downloading the book on Kindle Unlimited. So getting that strong emotional hook, that strong emotional thing, and especially leaving it on a cliffhanger. If they slept together and she told him that she loved him 100 times, but she's never said it before, and he didn't say it back last night, we're not going to tell them in the scene that he finally says it back, right? We want people to be like, what the did he say? Tell me. And then they're going to go read the book and find out. Or in my case, somebody's going to read the book and then comment on every single comment asking, what did he say then? And they're going to reply and tell everybody what he said because that person's a bitch and gets blocked by Kate and ruins my viral post. But other than that, like people will generally go read the book for it. Yeah, so I do always do when you in the hook. So I'll be like, or when, not when you, but like when the billionaire best friend, or when your grumpy orc boss, or, you know, just whatever the archetype is of the person you're in the scene with. You're in the scene, the main character's in the scene with. If it's his POV, I still put it in her POV. And that sounds so confusing. like he's the one hurting or whatever, if it's in his POV, I will be like, when your billionaire boss thinks that you're cheating on him. And then I'll do the scene that is his POV, but like it's still going to be second person POV, just kind of more of an omnipotent POV of like maybe you found out later what was going on. And so it'll mostly be third person because it's him and he's talking to his brother who's telling him to get his shit together or whatever. But I also always include scenes with dialogue. So if it's just a scene of someone feeling sad, I don't like using those. I prefer to have dialogue. So if it's a scene where he is reflecting on something, then I might include dialogue from the scene where they broke up or where he saw something that isn't what it looks like or whatever. So I might use dialogue from that because I always have dialogue on my second slide to let people know they're in a scene so that it doesn't read like a blurb because people get bored when they read blurbs. So we want them to feel like they're actually in the scene. And that gets people to go to the Amazon page a lot quicker. It gets them into what I like to call reading mode. There's probably a technical name for it with the science of reading and what it does to your brain, but I just call it reading mode when they're on the page and it feels like they're already reading and they're already involved in the story. I hope that answered your question, Marvin.
Yes,
Um,
yes, definitely. I mean, it's and you stayed true to your promise that you had a lot to say about it. I wonder if your ability to decipher hooks or understand what makes a good hook has changed the way you write, or if people now in the audience now they're like, oh my god, now I understand how to what good hooks are. How do you take that? Can you take that and already put it into your next book's writing? Like, do you
oh,
when
absolutely.
you write your book, how much marketing do you have in mind, or how much marketing should people have in mind when writing the book?
Right. So I have started using it's kind of a mix of the Chinese drama slash I don't give a fuck strategy. These are very technical names that I have for these things. Um, when I'm writing my books, and I'm saying, and I did this for my first ever book, and I think that's why it was so successful in back in 2020. Is I used the I don't give an f strategy for writing this book. So it was things like, if I want this girl who is blonde and loves pink, not a self insert for sure. If I want her to be a dragon with rose gold scales, she's gonna be a dragon with rose gold scales. I don't give an F what people think about it. If I want her to have the prettiest princess dress at the ball, and then the guy who's grumpy and who broke up with her the week before is staring at her and then drags her away to ravish her because they're secretly in love, I'm gonna do that. And I think that a big part of it is just being willing to not care if people think you look dumb. Because guess what? We all love the dumb things now and then because somebody is going to think it's dumb no matter what. Somebody is going to think the things you like are dumb. There are people who hate Bridgerton, which is the most successful romance TV series of all time. It's beat out Outlander. It's the most successful romance TV series of all time. Okay, people think it's dumb because it's not super historically accurate. They have glitter on their clothes and sequins, and like it's a very modern take on Regency romance, right? However, it's the most successful thing ever. So who cares what other people think? So when I'm writing my books and I think, you know what? Or for example, when someone else is writing their book and they think, you know what? I think that my, big buff leading man who was in the military and is a veteran, I think he should have a talking cat named Princess Donut. Yeah, that's gonna sound ridiculous, but guess what? Princess Donut is the absolute queen of all time. She is the Queen Anne Chunk. For anybody who's read Dungeon Crawler Carl, you understand. For anyone who hasn't, it's it's currently my favorite read right now. My husband and I are reading it together, but things that are ridiculous and things that feel dumb to write, the drama that feels dumb to write, just write it because if it's something that you love, that is fun to write, and that causes some bonkers drama to happen. Like, oh, her stepmother tried to murder her while she was in a coma, but she woke up right at that moment and then punched her in the face. Like, write it. If you can use that, you can use that for marketing. It's a crazy thing to happen. And guess what? People will buy it because they're like, ooh, I love this crazy thing that happened. That's why you see viral videos of the Chinese dramas and the K dramas and the J dramas that are like, I am a secret, millionaire CEO's daughter, and then this person is trying to bully me when I walk into work, and I'm just like standing in the background letting them do it while they dig a hole for themselves because I'm secretly the CEO or whatever. Right? There's always something really nuts going on, and that's what gets people interested, and people can't stop reading. So I like to say, use the K drama, be overly dramatic and don't care what people think format. If your goal is to write a beautiful piece of art that is very smart and very well written and that academics will love and that has a lot of several syllable words on every single page and people have to use a dictionary to get through it, go for it. But if your goal is to write a spicy romance that makes a ton of money and, might get real shorts or a TV adaptation or whatever, don't be afraid to be silly. I think too many people, I think a plight on the world, and part of the reason people don't make content as well is that they're so scared of looking dumb, of people making fun of them. And I think that limits you very strongly. And so when I'm writing my books, I never let myself be afraid of being dumb, of people thinking I'm dumb or people thinking I'm annoying. If you've seen my YouTube channel, I don't give a F. I'm trying not to cuss that much. I'm sorry for all the cuss words I have dropped, but I'm trying not to that much because of YouTube. But I don't care if people think I'm dumb because I'm having fun and it's getting me to do it. It's getting me to do the thing. Um, and then on the flip side of that, when I write, because I have a dark romance pen name that I'm working on, like I've said before, I've got several pen names that like I have books partially written for, but I haven't published anything with them, and I've got like them planned or something. But when I write super dark romance, I'm not going to say, ooh, this might be too dark or this might be too weird. I'm not going to write things like grooming or pedophilia like I've seen some people do. I'm not going to write that kind of thing, but I'm also not going to be like, you know what? I think this scene where she murders her kidnapper is too violent. I think it's too messed up. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to write how I want to write it. That's the great thing about indie publishing is I can write the weird stuff, I can write the crazy stuff, and then I can use that crazy stuff for my marketing. Of course, I'm going to use the word unalive instead of murder or stab or, gushing blood or whatever. But, and Marvin is like, what are you writing, Kate? Marvin, I'll tell you after this meeting. That book is nuts.
Yes, I also have to put it on my TBR. Is there you've mentioned so many like hacks and tactics and 25 slides and Kindle screenshots. Do you have any posts that we could maybe look at and you could share your screen so we see that also in practice? How
I
does such
can
a post
certainly
look like?
try.
That would be
I can
awesome.
certainly try. Let's see.
Somebody just asked, when you say one
Do
line
I
per
use
slide, 25 slides, do you use one single
I
still
use
image?
the exact same. I use the exact same um
Still image. Yeah, there were many
image.
questions
Yes.
around those little technicalities. So let's maybe start looking at some posts. Some people asked before about
Yes.
the multi account strategy. They were like, "Oh my God, how can we run 20 accounts?" Let's get into all the
Right.
nitty gritty of that.
Heck yeah. Okay. So we're going on AuthorScale. And just so y'all know, I don't use the AI features, but I bought the lifetime access for AuthorScale. I've had the lifetime access for a couple years, so I do use that version that has the AI. I don't personally use the AI. Some people do, some people don't. Whatever floats your boat. I'm not your mom. So I'm going to show you what my posts actually look like through AuthorScale. I can show you my views. I let my posts run out this week, so like 9,000 views yesterday. Um, could have been better. I've had a lot of days that I've had a lot more. I have a couple of Instagram posts that have gotten 30, 60,000 views. I've had several on TikTok do really well as well. Um,
Maybe
and I think that
quick backstory for or quick funny side note. When Kate and I were talking a few days ago when we were preparing for the live. I think you had
Oh
a
yeah.
you were like sick for 2 or 3 weeks or something. Like you didn't.
I was sick for a month.
And then, but because we see all the posts that go live and we regularly monitor, and we were like, Kate, congrats, you had some very good posts. And Kate was like, where really? I didn't know. So
I
she
did?
she had
Cool.
her automation set up. Her accounts were posting totally on autopilot, so to speak. And you mentioned even you didn't touch your phone for 2 weeks. That's a really cool side effect of having healthy accounts, building them up, and then yeah,
Mhm.
posting a lot through automation.
Yes. Can you guys see my screen for AuthorScale? Perfect. Okay, so since July 5th, I've gotten 500,000 views. A lot of people get more views than me. That's fine. I don't work as hard. Like that's the big thing about it. I don't work that hard, and I don't think that's a character flaw. So let's look at my slideshows, and then I'll show you my Kindle screenshots. Oh my god, guys, so fun. So this is Drakus Clan. This one is book 1 of the 14-book saga. This is book 1 of a 5-book series, but then the series is series 1 in a saga of 4 series. It's confusing. Who knows why I did it that way? It does make me money though. So, first slide. When the dragon shifter finds out you want all 4 of them. See, it's an RH. We have some fun. And look, it's so many slides. It's, I don't know, I'm not counting. And then what I do is I take like half a sentence per slide. And you might be wondering, what do these pink flowers have to do with the book? Spoiler alert, they don't. They're pink flowers, they're pretty, and the aesthetic works for TikTok. And there's nothing sexual about them, so TikTok can't ban me for having sexual backgrounds. That's why I never use people in my backgrounds, by the way. That's another tip I always give out, because TikTok has a problem with bots posting actual screenshots from pornographic videos. And so they're much more strict on their still image content, and anything that looks like it could be people doing it, they're like, nope, not gonna, just in case. Just like a fun fact. Why did I go back? Thank you, computer. I love when I scroll and my Mac goes back. I love having a Mac, but it likes to jump
I
back.
had to
So
disable
that's
that
pretty much
also.
what, huh?
I had to disable that functionality of
Oh,
scrolling
on
back.
yours? Yeah, I really need to. I never use it for its intended purpose, so it just pisses me off. So again, when you find out they can have more than one husband, oh my god, crazy. So then again, dialogue, slide 2. Dialogue, slide 2. You're never gonna guess dialogue on slide 2. It's crazy. Because that way people know they're in a scene. And this one is he has to rescue her because there's people trying to murder her. Stop it, computer. And then like here I censored the word knife because TikTok might throw a fit about it. And then my actual strategy, I'm gonna literally show you what I do. So one thing that I did do before was I would go to my posts over here, and then I would go to my queues, and then I would wait for everything to load because I live in the country. I don't have the fastest Wi-Fi on the planet. So then I would click add slideshows, and I would add them from my book. I would add the ones that I had made that day, and then I would just click on the next one, click add slideshows. They would all still be selected, and I'd click add, and I would have it in my settings. I would have it, instead of post directly, I would have send as draft. I don't do that anymore because I'm lazy and I don't want to be getting these phones out 5 times a day to save the drafts and post. I tried. I did try really hard, Marvin. I swear. I know that you were like, so why are you doing the post directly? It's because I can't post on TikTok on my phones 5 times a day, or I will scream at the sky. And then on Instagram, I also have posts directly. And some of my accounts I'll post as trial reels. You have to have over 200 followers to be able to post as trial reels, so keep that in mind if you have the account set that way. But Instagram is also a lot more nitpicky about having like separate background images every time you post if you're doing trial reels versus not. This contempt romance books and romance book reader, neither of those are getting any views right now because I haven't optimized the profiles. I'm going to go in and start doing that this week when I feel like getting around to it, probably tomorrow while I'm sitting in town while my kid's at school all day. I made my husband do that today though. So these are my Kindle screenshots, which are the only thing I post on Instagram is the Kindle screenshot videos, which I use in this tab. And then I go to my Kindle videos. And then I have specific accounts for specific types of books. So my billionaire romance. At this point, it's probably about time for me to change the background images on these. So I would click on them, and then I would go to duplicate, because I haven't quite figured out how to edit. Maybe there's a better way, but you know what? I'm going to use whatever I got. And then I'm just going to select a background image. I don't care what the background image is. Okay, I really don't. And then I'm going to use the music that's on here. I believe the public library is AI music, so keep that in mind. I select it because it's easier. And then I click render video, and it's going to do that. I could be wrong. Marvin, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know if the public library is AI music or not, but you know, who
Yes,
knows?
it's AI music so far. We've
Okay,
been looking
so it's not
into,
on, yeah,
yeah, it's not in the zero AI version, but
it's not on the zero AI version.
we've been looking into some maybe stock music libraries. That might be something we might do in the future,
In
but
the
there's
future.
nothing
Okay.
concrete
I
yet.
think people would like that very much.
Yeah.
And once that, if that does get added, that's what I'll start using. Um, but yeah, so then I just go in and add it to the Instagram queue, and I'm going to add that same exact post to all of my things. And I just click add to Instagram queue, click the account. I use keyboard shortcuts on my computer, so I just type in 4 letters, and then it like auto uploads, or auto puts in my whole caption. So then that post is going up on 4 accounts today. That would have taken me 10 to 20 minutes if I had done it all on my phone. And then you can also select your Kindle screenshots here, which is how I do mine. Is I know what scenes sell well out of this book, so I'll just click manual on my Kindle screenshots, and then I'll scroll the book and I'll find the scene. I'm so sorry if you guys see a sex scene. That's not my problem though. It's, you knew what you were getting into. I've said several times I write spicy books. So I'll select the scene. Like I might select this one about this person not being able to lie or something. And then I'll deselect auto color dialogue if I'm not wanting to use the AI features, so that it'll create from selection, and then I can just select the text and highlight. And then I'm also going to censor anything that might need to be censored. And you might be surprised at what might need to be censored. For TikTok, I'm not super worried about it. Or for Instagram, sorry, I'm not super worried about it, but I'll still do a strike through on words like touching or body or lips or hands, because we know what hands do and it's disgusting. Um, and then I'll just save it and make a video. And then what I like to do is, again, if you're not using the AI, it won't auto generate a hook. Also, sometimes I just don't like what it generates. So I'm going to change my text style. I always do the white pill background. So like select the black text in the pill background. And then for extra text, that's when I'm going to add my book title. I'm going to add like a little book emoji. Now. And then I'm going to drag that. It tends to jump up a little after I generate it, so I like to drag it well enough below my text that if it jumps up, it's not going to overlay my text. Don't know why it does that. Not my problem. I know how to get around it, so I don't care. And that might sound like, Kate, why don't you care about each individual post? Why don't you work harder on each individual post? And it's because if I work super hard on each individual post, it takes forever, and I'm losing money by doing it. Working super hard on posts, on every single post that you do, takes a lot of time and has no guaranteed return. And if you work really hard and you're very proud of a post and it gets 10 views, you're going to be pissed. Okay, you just are. And so I don't do that. There we go. And now it's on my queue. And I would, if I had more Instagram accounts for that, I would add it to the queue on there. And then for my slideshows, if I'm adding them to my queues. This is how I actually do it because, again, I have it post directly. I have been bullying Marvin about adding a feature where it saves my captions when I type them in here. We'll see if the bullying works. So that way I don't have to type it in every time, but I'll literally just select, put in my captions, add to queue, and then I'll click it again and I'll select the next profile. I know exactly which profiles I use for each account, for each book. So I have one for my contemporary and one for my paranormal. This is my top selling paranormal series, so this is pretty much the only one I market. If I marketed every individual account, I might make more money. You bitch. Sorry, I cuss at my computer a lot. I'm so sorry, everyone. But yeah, so I'm like just throwing in my captions and stuff, and I'm doing it across all of the accounts for this. So it's, I think this book I have 7 or 8 accounts that I'm posting it on, and then the remaining TikTok accounts I have, I post my contemporary billionaire Kate Hall books. And so as of now, I have 8 posts drafted. And if I do, 10 of those, that's 2 days worth of post for 8 accounts, I believe. And it makes my life easier. I'm saving time and I'm saving money. And then sometimes my views are low. But guess what? When you post manually, sometimes you get low views. Sometimes TikTok views suck. And everybody will post in my groups and stuff, because I have a Facebook group and a Discord. And everybody will post and they'll be like, oh my God, I'm getting no views today. What's happening? And like, look, 0 views across a bunch of accounts. But these are all from today. 84 views, not wonderful. 76 yesterday. This is not because I'm posting through AuthorScale, y'all. This is because something is going on the TikTok algorithm. And I know this because people are messaging me and being like, Kate, TikTok's broken. My account is broken. And I'm like, no, it's not. Everybody's account is broken, which means no one's is. TikTok is just fucking us with views. Okay. Sometimes it happens. And see, I have 132 pages worth of counts. These are from 2025. I've done a lot of posts. So this is from July when I started posting. 1,000 views here. This was like the day after I started posting up again on all of these accounts. So the views were really low because I hadn't posted on those accounts for some of these accounts. It's been 3 years since I've posted on them. Right? So then we're starting to see better. 1,000 views, 400 views, which isn't amazing, but it's not terrible. Considering what views have been. But then if we actually look on my Instagram posts and my views on those, again, I have those 2 accounts I haven't optimized. So anything with this profile picture or with this profile picture probably has 0 views, but I'm still posting on them because I am too lazy to remember which account is getting 0 views. So I know they're getting 0 views. I need to optimize those accounts. It's not the fault of AuthorScale or my content. It's the account needs to be optimized and Instagram needs to think I'm a real person. So then if we go back more towards my July, we're going to see 3,000 views, 1,500 views, 3,000 views again, a lot, close to 1,000, 35,000 views almost, 1,200 views. And some of them still have 0 views, right? That's fine. 3,000, 2,000, 0. Oh no, the end of the world. Except it's not, because I'm still getting a ton of views on all these other accounts, right? So when we're posting, somebody asked earlier about why would you do multiple accounts, and it's because of this, because sometimes your account is gonna suck, but the more accounts you have, which it's really hard to make this many accounts. It took me years to make this many TikTok accounts. It's a lot easier to make multiple Instagram accounts. So if you're putting your energy somewhere, I would definitely do these screenshot videos on Instagram, because that's where I'm seeing a lot higher return. I'm seeing a lot better views as well. So just as a recommendation, I would recommend, if you're wanting to put all your energy into one thing, I would do the Instagram Reels. But start using it as a person, and like when you make these downloads and you have them in your Kindle screenshots folder, when you wait a minute for the page to load because Kate's computer wants to be slow today. When you go in, I would just download these, put them on your phone, and manually post them for like 1 or 2 days until you start seeing some number of views. And then that's when you're going to want to start using AuthorScale because the account thinks that you're a person. And then I would also scroll through reels and like just use them like a real person. You don't have to optimize toward, Bookstagram or whatever. You don't have to optimize toward your genre. You just have to let Instagram think that you are a person who uses the app because they're more likely to reward your content with views because they don't think you're a bot. If they think you're a bot, they're not going to waste views on you. So I use, and that's why those 2 accounts are failing, is because I haven't optimized them yet. I literally have not taken a minute to scroll through them or to post manually on those accounts. So that's that. Is there anything else you wanted me to show them on AuthorScale, Marvin?
That
Because we are.
No, that was awesome. I think for some people, it appeared blurry at times, but I think maybe the key messaging, or if you could go back to share just one little thing again,
Oh,
the
sorry.
dashboard when we when you started posting on AuthorScale, because it's important to also mention that prior to AuthorScale, you were using Canva, right? I believe
I
to
was.
come up with to create the slideshows, and
Yes.
if you go to your dashboard, um, we can see that you started posting on AuthorScale, where you moved over from Canva
July
to
5th.
AuthorScale. July 5th,
Yep.
14th, 5th. Yeah, that's my birthday. Interesting. So then you started on July 5th, and did you see any like impact on royalties? Did it have any positive impact, or was it just time saved?
Well, let's check my royalties, shall we? Okay, so here's my royalties. This is for this month. Okay, I don't put a lot of effort in. If I put a lot of effort into optimizing every account, this number would be quadruple what it is, but I don't because I spend most of my time helping other people. Okay, so let's go just last couple of months. Okay, July 1st. Well, let's go June 1st to now. Last 90 days. Okay, June 1st. My top days were $21, 29, crazy amounts. Those were my top days, and now my low days are around what my top days were. And then my top days are much higher from my royalties. And this is, you can see July 3rd, July 4th, July 5th, 11/31. The day after I started posting, royalties started going up. And yes, there is still up and down. And yes, I don't make $1 million a month from my books. But that is again because I don't put as much effort in as a lot of people. My full-time job is not my books.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
but
so
I
you
have
go.
several people who are like seeing significantly better views than I am. And one thing that I would do to make significantly better views would be to do more of the Instagram Kindle screenshots. Because while I am doing really well posting on TikTok every single day, I haven't been posting on Instagram every single day. I'll post like 2 days a week, but I need to get more Kindle screenshot videos made so that I can just draft out a bunch of those for Instagram.
So
But that's the difference there.
is it fair to say that since the switch from Canva to AuthorScale, you both saved more time in terms of content production and distribution, but also are making on average more money?
Oh my God, I'm making so much more money. And I'm saving so much time. Because guess what? If I had done all this with Canva, because the process with Canva was log into Canva, go into my format file, select a slide, like select a hook, change the background image, bulk create, change background image, bulk create, change background image, bulk create. Do that like 5 times. Then do that with all 15 or so of my scripts. And then go download each individual one of those slideshows with 30 plus slides onto a phone, which if you don't know, that's a lot of space being taken up, especially on an older phone. Okay, it's a lot of space. So you download them each individually on your phone, and then you have to go in and draft them individually on your phone. So if you just use the slideshow drafting with AuthorScale, then it's going to save you hours, hours and hours. I could do a week's worth of post in 30 to 40 minutes with AuthorScale. It would take me, with that many accounts, because I was probably posting regularly on 4 accounts in May. I want to say it was May. There was like 1 month this year that I was actually consistent. It wasn't May. It was March then. I feel like it was an M month. Yeah, it was March. This is when I was posting consistently in March on a few accounts, and it was not consistent. Like, I still had extreme low days, and it was a huge pain. And I wasn't posting on all the accounts that I'm posting on. And then, like, my views started to tank because one of the accounts decided it didn't want to work anymore. So, like, the views started to tank down towards April, and I got bored of it and gave up. Whereas if I get bored and give up, I still have a week's worth of posts, and I can come back to it next week when I feel better. And I've still been doing my marketing because the posts have been going up.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And then
awesome.
Instagram. Yeah. And then on Instagram, average, I have higher views. It's easier to make more Instagram accounts. It's a little harder to optimize them to convince Instagram that I'm not a robot, especially because I'm a robot. Let me tell you, I can never find a car in those pictures. There's not proof that I'm not a robot. So it's just, I don't know. It's infinitely better. It's infinitely easier. This is the most consistent I've been with marketing my books since I started publishing. Truly.
Awesome to hear. Awesome to hear. We've been at it for over an hour, Kate. I want to open up quickly to Q&A. There were a lot of
Absolutely.
questions. I will just
Okay.
go through and display them one by one. Maybe you addressed
Okay.
some of them already. I think this a couple of people asked how many slides or posts in general are you posting a day, roughly?
Um, Depends on the day. If I have all of my accounts going, I'm posting 80 posts a day.
Oh wow,
So,
that's a lot.
but on an average day, because guess what? Sometimes I only feel like drafting 3 days worth, and then 4 days later, I'll be like, oh no, I drafted and ran out of posts yesterday. So I'll have days where I have like 10 posts.
Okay.
Very, very minimal 10 posts, as some people are like, I can possibly post once every day. 10 posts is a low day for me.
Yeah, yeah. But
Um,
what's your average time spent a week on this entire production and distribution with
2 hours,
AuthorScale? 2 hours.
two
Okay, I think
hours.
that's important for people to understand. I think the 80 posts a day is crazy, but if you say, hey, this is 2 3 hours a week, I think that's something most authors or most people can fit into their schedule. Another question here, do you see any need to keep optimizing TikTok on a phone while using AuthorScale? Does it negatively affect your TikTok account if you only post and don't view?
Sometimes it depends on how I feel. I haven't charged these phones in a month. They're both dead. There's no battery in either of them. These are the phones that I'm logged into. So like it it will improve your views if you do that. It is not a thing that I do because I do not want to do it.
Yeah,
Um, and my author money is what pays my kids' tuition. Um, but I'm focused so hard on my other stuff for that I don't worry so much about my own book sales as I worry about other people's book sales. And I will generally tell people, um, do as I say, not as I do in a lot of cases, because yes, you will make a lot more money if you optimize your accounts, if you use them like a real person, if you use the account like a person and then use the drafting, like send to drafts and then post directly from AuthorScales, or like if you post directly off of the phone. Yes, you'll probably get more views somewhat consistently. But yes, it will also be a little bit more of a pain in the ass.
yeah.
Um,
Maybe my 2 cents here is, or what we've seen across the board, especially if you start a new account, it's probably worth it to put a bit more love into the account so you prove in the
oh
beginning that
yeah,
this is
new
a good
accounts,
account.
new accounts overall. You've got to baby them for a little while. You don't have to have multiple phones, Sydney. It's okay. You're good. You don't got to have multiple phones. I don't use these anymore. That's the point of what I was saying, is I don't use them. I logged into the accounts. and I was using those for a bit, and then I was like, no, this is exhausting. I'm just going to post directly from AuthorScale. So log into the account on your phone, get it optimized and get it working, and do like the drafts from AuthorScale and post from drafts. But once the account is optimized and running, like, go ahead. Also, it's not 65 books, it's 65 books and format, so it's like paperbacks plus whatever. It's also a bunch of books that are unpublished. Or yes, AuthorScale can schedule trial reels. Sorry, I'm like gonna read it and be like, yes, reply.
This one is an important one. How do you give them the link to click on, or how do you give them the link to click, or book name, etc.? Is that in a TikTok description or slides?
That's the fun thing. You don't. You don't give them anything to click on because TikTok has created a very new standard. If you were publishing when Facebook was the only way to market, you remember, like, if you don't have a perfect clean link that is also optimized and is also smaller, but is also an affiliate link, then you're screwing yourself over. This is not those days anymore. People will see the title, and then they will search the title and author name on Amazon to find it. That's the standard. And then, like, on my Instagram for my screenshots, I just put the title at the bottom on the video and they can look it up because they're gonna. That's the standard now on these sites. The links don't work in comments, and messaging people links can get your account banned or can get your account restricted, and then you'll get less views. So it's really just not worth the effort of trying to figure out a link, because nobody is going to go through the pain of trying to copy a link from a comment that doesn't want to be copied and pasting it when they could just type in the book name and the pen name.
Yeah, totally. So I guess it makes sense when you pick a name, that you pick a book name that doesn't have too much competition, right? So when people search it on Amazon, that there's not a million other books with the exact same name.
I have a book that has several books that are more popular than mine with the same name, and they still find it. So Dragon Power is not a unique title. And legally you don't have to have a unique title. It's the book name plus the pen name that matters, because people will search with the pen name. They're not just going to search the thing.
All right. So you don't look for specific videos or images that fit the vibe of the book. You mentioned it, just pick something and you focus on quantity rather than over perfecting.
So instead of fitting the scene of the book or having sexy people making out with their tops off, I pick something that just fits, like, the aesthetic that fits the vibe of the book overall. So since I write books that get quite angsty, then I do, like, trying to think of the best way to word this. I just do, like, dark aesthetics with, like, flowers or like a rainy city street or something like that. I'm not worried about it fitting the scene. And I don't ever do character art. I make my own character art. I paint my own art for my characters, but I don't use it in my marketing. It's just like a fun little, I don't have a copy of it in this book, but it's just like a fun little bonus for when I do physical copies and stuff. And I also never use the book as the covers on things. I know people have mentioned using the covers. Like, there's a bunch of comments that ask about the cover. I don't use the cover in my marketing. I know you paid a lot of money for your cover, but the point of your cover is on Amazon. The point of your cover is not on TikTok. And when it looks like an ad, TikTok is more likely to suppress your views. And same with Instagram, because they want you paying for views on things that are ads. And so when you have the cover of the book, it automatically looks like an ad.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you mentioned that you're sending the same video to multiple accounts. Somebody's asking if you had any suppression issues from any platform. It appears that you don't care too much about duplicate content.
Sometimes not. I don't really get suppression from posting the same thing on multiple accounts because of the way that AuthorScale's system works and the way that the posting works through AuthorScale. The posts don't have the same metadata, so it doesn't matter that much. What I do start to see suppression and lower views on is when I don't swap out the background images for a while. So, like, once every couple of weeks, I'll swap out the background images so that it's fresh content going up. And I have, like, so I have for like Drakus Clan, the one that I was showing y'all, I have like 10 slideshows that I use. And then in AuthorScale, I've duplicated it twice. So there's 30 copies of my slideshows. So there's 3 of each. And so I just go in and I change the background image, and then I submit those new background images for my posts with the description. And I use the same caption, same description, which is just the book title, pen name for the title. And then the description is the blurb of my book plus the title again and tropes. So when I say title again plus tropes, I don't just mean like Drakus Clan, comma, Marriage of Convenience, comma, Dragon Shifters. I'll just say like Drakus Clan is a paranormal dragon shifter why choose with dark themes or something. And that's for the data on that's for the SEO and data on TikTok. Because TikTok reads through the text on screen, and it reads through your captions to see where they should categorize your books. Which is why I include the this is this kind of book, so that it knows this should be on Book Talk just by the caption. I don't use hashtags either.
Yeah. I guess you answered this one, your formula for captions. Anything else to say about it?
The thing I said. That's pretty much it, my dude. Like,
all right.
and like a lot of people do that format.
Do you keep the same caption per book for screenshots, or try to vary it? I guess you also
Same
do the
caption. Same caption, because I use keyboard shortcuts on my computer, so I just type 4 letters and it fills in.
Yeah.
So.
And some people also mentioned that they would also appreciate like a caption library on AuthorScale, where you can kind of save those captions and then directly import
Give us our
them.
caption library, Marvin. And then on the slideshow page, let us select multiple accounts when we're going to add to TikTok.
Yeah, it's all on our
I
list.
actually DM'd Christian about that specifically too. I was like, hey, hey, is this viable or am I crazy?
My Kindle screenshots don't get nearly as many views as the other kind you were showing.
So my Kindle screenshots don't get a ton of views on TikTok, but they get better views on Instagram. And I do the Kindle screenshot videos with a video background, and I will either for the background choose the aesthetic, or I'll do a page flip video that I've taken from my phone. I upload that page flip video to AuthorScale, blah, blah, blah. Or I will use like aesthetic, or I'll use a video, and I use stock videos of people that are like holding their phone, pointing to their feet and walking. Don't know why those work, but they do. But those give me, I don't know, they just tend to give me a little bit better views, because it's something intriguing to look at the background, and it's just another thing to help stop the scroll.
Yeah. Somebody's saying I'm spending way too much time on each post, putting different images on 5 or 6 slides. That's definitely over optimizing, right?
Don't do that. Do one image on 25 to 35 slides. And again, once you have that 35 slide slideshow, use the duplicate option. Don't rewrite it each time. Don't change all the details. Just duplicate it and put a new background image on the next time. No link at all. Somebody asked, no link at all? No link at all. It is a waste of time. Would love to save captions. I told you so, Marvin.
Another vote for the ability to save captions and hashtags. Okay, we got our next speech.
Stop using hashtags. Don't use them. They're useless. They're pointless. Stop it. You're wasting time. Instagram and TikTok have specifically said that they are pointless and not usable. Sorry. That's the thing I'm very passionate about, is I don't use hashtags, because if the app themselves says they don't use them and they are pointless, stop wasting your time.
Good one, yeah. Are you marketing only first series?
Depends on the series. Most of the time, yes, because what I do is at the end of each book. So this one is a series of standalones, and like each character, like each couple is like the brother in the group. So there's like all these brothers, and then each one of them gets a book. He's my, oh no, I don't have the preview chapter in this one. I usually have the preview chapter at the end of each book for the next book, and then get them to buy it through there. So then, so yeah, I generally just market the first one in the series. One exception is, I know I have a copy of this over here. Here we go. Let me reach. 1 second. So this one that I've been talking about a lot today, it's a 5-book series, and I market the omnibus edition. So when people ask what it's from, I say Drakus Clan by Alexis Pierce. I don't say Dragon Taken by Alexis Pierce, or I don't say whatever the book 2 title is. I truly don't remember. It's been so long since I've written them, I don't remember the order of the books. But I push them toward that, and so I might have some scenes from book 2 if I can't find enough from book 1. But really, I think most of my marketing scenes from this are from book 1 currently. I think it ends about the time when one of the guys dies. Don't worry, he gets better.
Yeah. Question about tracking. Do you track how many people click through from your TikTok, Instagram to Amazon?
I totally would if there were any click-through tracking. The best way to track if people are actually buying the book based off of the post is the saves, which is the little bookmark icon, because there's not really a click-through tracking from Instagram or from TikTok to Amazon when you aren't doing clicks.
Yeah.
The second best way is if you're doing a TikTok shop, you can track, obviously, if they're seeing it on TikTok, it'll show which video they bought the post from. But otherwise, like, no. I track my views and I track the saves to see what's actually converting, because if my save rate isn't high, even if the views are high, then I'm not going to bother posting it again, because if it doesn't have a high save rate, that means people aren't trying to come back to it to read the book, which means I'm not making money. And if I'm not making money, what's the point? I don't care about going viral. I
Oh,
care about making money.
good. Do you ever pay for the boost for individual posts, or are you running any ads?
I do pay for the boost for individual posts, but it's not what you think. I don't ever pay if a video I worked really hard on doesn't go viral or doesn't do well. I only pay for posts that are already doing well, that already have viral potential. So, for example, I might boost those Instagram posts that Marvin pointed out that have 30 to 60,000 views. I might pay to boost those and give them an extra few thousand views, because that can jumpstart viral content. However, if you are paying to get 6,000 views on a video with 50 views, the app already thinks that video sucks. Why would more people watch it if, the first 100 people had no interest in watching it? And if it couldn't go viral from the first couple hundred views that they use to evaluate and see if that content has viral potential, why would you put money into a post that's not going to make you any money? So yeah, only if a video gets over 10,000 views will I put money into it. And even then, I'm not going to put thousands of dollars into it. I'm going to put like $10 in it and see if it gets it to go viral again. If not, then I'm like, all right, bye.
Yeah, that's a very, very important point, especially for people that are running ads. Consider trying to post organically, see what works, and then run ads with those creatives, because you will get much
Yes.
cheaper clicks and much better conversion rates and
Yeah,
everything.
I will say the promote feature on TikTok, it's slightly different than ads, but I will say that I have found the promote feature to be a lot more effective than straight up ads, because ads, they will show to people that you pay it to show to. But when you use the promote feature, it can show to people organically again on the FYP, because people are once again liking it a lot from the boost, and it can start showing organically again. So that's why I prefer to use the promote feature over ads, specifically on TikTok.
Okay. Then we have a question on how to optimize accounts. I think you talked a lot. You talked a lot about it already, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe summarized again for people that are starting a new account right now.
Right. So I do this cool thing where I pretend to be a real person. It's very hard. Once again, I don't know what a ladder looks like. Why does the little pictures have ladders? Who knows what those are? But what I do is I pretend to be a person, and then I scroll through and I just interact like a person. If I see a video that's funny or that has a relatable cat thing, I'll be like, oh my God, my cat does the same thing. Or I'll, like a couple of posts or save a couple. Or if I see one that is like, OMG, friend, bestie, this is so you, then I'll send it to that friend. It's just using the account like a person. Um,
Do
and
you also
even
niche
like
down?
sending a video to yourself is fine. Sorry.
Do you also niche down and make sure to kind of
Yeah.
follow
I used
creators?
to, and it's still in my course, and I need to take that down, but I don't niche down. I just
Okay.
act like a person, because I realized how dumb it was to be giving that advice last year, because I had an account where the whole account was me making fun of people who are bad at driving semi-trucks over the road, like the big 18-wheelers, or as you call them in Europe, lorries. I used to make funny videos about that because I used to do that for a living, and so I would make fun of the people who were bad at it. But I never watched videos made for 45 to 50-year-old truckers because I didn't care about those videos. They're the ones who were watching my videos, but I watched videos about horses and gay rights and, you know, that kind of, like, I watched videos about being an author or about sewing or art or my favorite shows. I never watched things for other people, and it didn't matter for me going viral on that account. I went viral several times. Actually, Hank Green commented on one of those videos, which was the best day of my life. Nothing can top it. And yes, I am married and have a kid, but nothing can top Hank Green commenting on my video.
But I guess then it's you needed to have enough posting for TikTok to figure out who your ideal audience is, right?
Right. Yeah. But that's posting versus the
Yeah.
viewing and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Next question. So you mentioned you have a lot of accounts. People are wondering what kind of usernames are you giving those accounts? Do you have like pen name accounts and then also reader-based accounts?
All right, time for me to go through the list. Oh, I was already on the right page and now it's going to reload. Give me 18 and a half minutes for this page to reload. Okay, so my account names are as follows. Come on. Sorry, I'm waiting for it to load. Paranormal Book Boyfriend, PNR Book Obsession, PNR RH Book Rex, K Hall Books, A Pierce Books, Kate Hall Writes, Kate Hall Books, Romance Book Readers, not romance, romance, spelled wrong on purpose. Angsty Romance Reads, Allie Reads Romance, Fantasy Paranormal Romance, Alexis Pierce Books, Catherine Hall Books, that's a pen name I haven't done anything with, Natalie Reads Romance, Nat Reads Romance, Book Talks Romance Girlies, Contempt Romance Books, Romance Book Reader. They're very highly thought through, very, very technical names, as you can see. No, I just do something that's available and I spell the word romance wrong when it's on TikTok because TikTok is more likely to flag the word romance or spicy or smutty or dark when it comes to books. TikTok tends to flag those.
Do you use YouTube Shorts?
I should. I use it more for my like nonfiction and for my face content. So I'll use AuthorScale for YouTube Shorts a lot more once Marvin adds the ability to add edited videos and schedule them from AuthorScale. But I don't do YouTube Shorts all that much for my fiction books.
Yeah, that's something we also have on the list. Here we have a comment from somebody that I've heard some people find success by not adding the title so that people ask, thus boosting engagement. Do you find that works?
Yeah, it totally works, but I don't want to open my phone and reply to comments all day. It absolutely works and it gets comments. But guess what? If I put the comment front and center on every single video, if I put the thing front and center on every single video, I'm still going to have people comment and they're going to be like, what's the title? Where can I find this? What is it? And I'm like, it's right fucking there. So,
All right, logistic question. AuthorScale is allowing for one account login to juggle all these socials, but if you are in the socials, you utilize multiple iPhones to keep them active. I think it's like a question of how many socials can you put onto one account.
So I have 16 accounts logged in on AuthorScale. All of those accounts are technically logged into these phones, but again, I haven't charged these phones in a month. So once the accounts are optimized and once you've started using them and once TikTok thinks you're a real person, you can kind of just not worry about it anymore for a while. If the account ever starts to tank and just consistently gets 0 views over and over and over forever, that's when you might log into that account and try to re-optimize it, maybe give it a couple of days off of posting, and then go back to it after a little bit. But yeah, otherwise I never worry about going into that phone. Like I just don't. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you should do this for the technical and the optimizing, but I don't want to.
But I guess to start off, one phone is totally enough. You can have I
Yeah.
think up to
You can
five
use your
TikTok
personal
accounts.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah. And
You can
once
have
you're
eight.
scaling to more phones means that things are working out. So just focus on getting one phone, one account, maybe one Instagram, one TikTok, maybe one YouTube short account
Yeah.
working
Well, the
and fill
great
it.
thing with Instagram too is that you can go in your Instagram dashboard and you don't need a unique email address for every account. They now work like Facebook pages. So you can just create all of them on the same account, which is really cool. Just remember to go in and optimize them, much like I have not.
So this question is also related. I missed the part where we have to have multiple phones. You don't. That stuff. If you're talking about multiple phones, you're already making money with one phone. So that's
Yeah.
something that yeah. Once you get there, also we're gonna get to the end in a bit. I mean, also I'm sure Kate Hall has courses where she talks about this, or you can always
If it were
check.
2023, I would totally tell you to get multiple phones and run accounts off of all of them. It's not 2023 anymore. It's 2026, which is insane. That means it's been 10 years since 2016. And I know that's logical, but I hate it.
How many Instagram accounts can you have on? How many Instagram
I don't
accounts does
know.
one have?
That's a
Okay.
great question. I haven't topped out. My Instagram, let's see how many I'm logged into, just so you guys know. On my phone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm logged into 11 right now, so the limit is above 11. Um,
The comments here
so
are
at least
exploding.
11.
Comments here are exploding, and I don't want to steal much more of Kate's time, but I will scroll through and see if
I'm
there's.
fine.
You're fine. Let's see. I like to add a cover of my book for half a second before and after the Kindle screenshot. Is there a way to do that in AuthorScale? Right now, not, but it's something that is probably on our list. Yeah, like a million other things, but feel.
You can do it on the slideshows, I believe, but not on the Kindle screenshot videos. Also, I don't bother because it makes it look like an ad, so I don't do it because I don't want it to look like an ad and I don't want my videos to get suppressed.
Yeah, we have it on our list to work on
Um,
a video editor, which is like way more free, and you can put stuff together. Yeah, so that's also on our list.
Marvin, you didn't tell me about this. I'm so excited. I went to film
There's
school, Marvin. I'm so excited for this.
there's a lot of exciting stuff on the horizon.
Laura says we need the deal. Can I give them the deal?
Yeah, let's
Just real quick, and then we'll keep answering questions.
let's go to the deal.
Okay, so a lot of y'all are asking about my courses. They are on alignedigital.com, ALYNE digital.com. And the deal is I just made this coupon today and then told Marvin about it as we were logging in. So the code is AS as in author scale, 50, and that gives you $50 off of the full course bundle. So if you buy the whole bundle, you get $50 off. That is the best deal you can get on my site. Anything else, like things are automatically 15% off through the end of this month, but if you use AS50, you'll get $50 off, which is like $5 more than the 15% off deal. And that's for my full course bundle. That's TikTok for authors, Streamline and Sell, Book Marketing Pro, which is the one about writing your scripts that are going to sell the fuck out of your books. And then like Millionaire Confidence, which is about being confident because we need some confidence to be able to post. Because if we have an anxiety attack every time we go to post, we're not going to be posting as often. So let's get that confidence, girlies, and also boys, I guess, whatever. And then Book Publishing Basics, which if you're here and you're already publishing, you probably need that one a little less. But yeah, so it's all courses, and I have communities around it where I'm in there and I'm talking about, updates. I'm adding segments on AuthorScale specifically. So if you go in the courses and you're like, well, this doesn't mention AuthorScale, this is Canva. I'm actively like this. I've been over the past couple of weeks adding the AuthorScale segments. I've got them recorded. I just need to finish captioning and adding them. But I have fully switched over my business model to AuthorScale, and I've been recommending everybody in my groups and everything do the same as well. but it'll tell you exactly my exact strategy for AuthorScale, including the zero AI features, and it goes over the difference in the zero AI dashboard versus the regular dashboard, so that, you know, if you want to pay for the lifetime so that you just don't ever have to pay again, then like it's going to show you how to do it without, and which features are AI so that you don't have to use them, versus like the zero AI dashboard. And I will say, I'm sorry, Rocket. Sorry, I just ran over my dog with my seat. But if you want to use like the zero AI dashboard, it ends up being a lot cheaper because you get 20 accounts for the same price as like one account with the AI version. So I fully recommend. But yeah, so the code again on my website, if you're wanting to learn how to write your own scripts so you don't have to use AI features, if you're wanting to learn my strategy for like optimizing TikTok accounts, for doing those, for making your content, for pulling your scripts, for all of that, then just use that code AS50. Um,
Like this.
then, and Marvin, yes, you got it. And I should probably make sure that code is correct as I repeat it over and over and over again. I just made it today, so I'm 99% sure it's AS50. Um, but it's gonna save you a pretty good deal of money. Um, and that's for the full course bundle, so it doesn't work if you do the payment plan. It only works if you do the full bundle. And then after the end of this month, there will also be code AS15 that'll get you 15% off, and that also works on the payment plans, but the $50 off only works on the bundle. So, but if you end up needing to do the payment plan, then after the end of this month, you can use the AS15. Otherwise, it'll just, you know, things. I hope I explained
Awesome.
it well.
Yeah, and we also look forward to the updated sections on how you're using AuthorScale
Yes.
successfully now since I think 2 months.
Yes. If I had not been sick for a month, then they would have been up a month ago. But I decided to be sick for a month because I have a 4-year-old child and he coughs inside of my
Yeah.
face.
I'm skimming through the questions. I'm sorry if I didn't display anybody's question or anyone's still this question is still
I am happy
unanswered.
to answer more as well.
Yeah, I think maybe what I would love to end with is a note on mindset, right? You're talking about making helping women get rich. Um, uh, what can you say about mindset? And also, you mentioned a lot of times that you have 0 views here, but you shouldn't care about that. Don't worry about it. And I think, at least in my experience in dealing with authors, that's when a lot of authors get discouraged, right? They start for a week or 2 weeks, and then they just don't go viral, right? Because that's just the way it is, right? And then
Right.
how do you keep yourself motivated, or how can you inspire other people that this is just part of the game? It's just a numbers game.
Um, truly, it's hard when you're not used to it. But truly, it's just about keeping doing it. And that's why I do like 2 or 3 days of manual posting and then I swap over to automated posting, because chances are you're not going to go viral in your first couple of videos. Right. Um, Also, Marvin, can you drop the link in the YouTube chat? I'm not on the YouTube, so I just dropped it in the chat
I
on our back
think,
end, but not on the YouTube.
yeah, I will
Um,
definitely update it, but I think it's in the description. I remember putting something.
okay. But anyway, so the big thing about the mindset is it's not about being motivated all the time, because it's really hard to be motivated, right? Motivation is a lie. It's people who don't have ADHD and autism combined, they like to say, well, it's about discipline. It's about being disciplined and having a thing where you just do it every day so that you just do it on autopilot. And I'm like, that's not how my brain works. That's not what it does. It's about setting up systems so that when you know that your brain isn't going to work, that you're set. Um, Code isn't working. Um, okay, I will fix that here in a bit. But just on this point, like, it's not about getting your brain to work all the time. It's about figuring out when your brain works and doing it at that point. and setting it up with enough time so that when your brain isn't working, you're good and you're set, and then you can fix it when your brain is working again. That's how it works, in my opinion. It's not about motivation. It's about setting up systems and automating to the point where you don't have to do things when it's hard. You just have to do things when it's easy. And they said the code isn't working, which is really cool. And I love that for you. And I'm going to fix it as I talk about motivation some more. But yeah, and then like when it comes to the confidence, because sometimes it's like, oh my God, what if I did this wrong? I guarantee if you just follow my advice from this live to the letter, you're going to be doing better than 99% of other authors.
Okay.
So
Maybe, I mean,
okay, so sorry, go ahead.
yeah, some people are saying the code isn't working. I think it's something you can fix right now or
Okay.
after the call. But
Yeah,
good to
so
see that
it
there's some interest.
yeah, so the code it has to be the AS50 because the AS15 is not going to work until after the 1st of September. So only the AS50 will work, and it works in your cart. So you just add discount or gift code, and it's going to replace the 15% off with the AuthorScale discount, and it's AS50. And then the AS15 will work for the payment plans after the 1st of September.
Good.
But yeah,
So
so
some people are already saying bye. So if people are dropping,
yeah.
thanks for watching. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Kate, I think we can start wrapping it up. We could talk for hours longer about all the questions that are coming in.
And
Um,
I would, Marvin, and you are probably tired because it's late where you live.
it's going to be 11 p.m. soon. We can also keep going, but I think we can also set up a second session. It's cool to see that that people are interested in the topic. I don't know. Do you think
Mm-hmm.
there's something we didn't cover yet? Something that you would like to still talk about that you think is valuable for people to understand for the people that sticked around until now?
Um, I think so. Um, so Sydney, yes, you can go back, and yes, it's only for the bundle, and I don't do different content for my main author pages unless I'm doing TikTok shop, which I don't really work on. Just a few of the questions that I saw that were big questions. I wanted to go over those real quick. I think the biggest thing with a lot of people that I see is sometimes you're going to get a lot of fucking momentum. You're going to get something that goes super viral and you're going to make $1,000 in a day. And when that stops working, you're going to panic. But the way that things work with virality and with content, and the reason that I say, and I say this to everyone every time I do any sessions, and I say it in my course, just because it's not going viral doesn't mean it's not working. 200 views is still going to get you Kindle reads. It might be 10 cents, it might be 20 cents, but when you are doing this consistently across the board, then and you're making sure that the accounts are optimized and that they're primed and that TikTok thinks you're a real person or that Instagram thinks you're a real person, it's going to make more money than you spend. It's just about whether you're willing to wait it out through those bits. I have absolutely had people who are like, yeah, I took your advice and I posted for 3 months. And on the third month, I started making $65,000 a month. And that's awesome. That's not how it goes for most people. Okay. TikTok is not what it was in 2022. If you're just jumping into TikTok now, or you're just finally willing to put the effort in now, it does not work the same as it did in 2022. Chances are you're not going to become a millionaire through TikTok right now. But being consistent with it through TikTok and especially through Instagram trial reels are real hot right now. But being able to make good content that sells is so much more important than going viral on TikTok every week. Because if you can make content that can go viral now and then then you can repurpose that content for Facebook ads, for your email list, for your Amazon ads. You can shorten those captions, or you can use your little hook that sold a bunch of copies of your book that one time, and you can use that as your little description on your Amazon ads. There's so much you can do with this that's not just making content for TikTok. Because one thing I like to say is my courses, especially TikTok for authors, it's a marketing mastermind disguised as a TikTok course. And it's the cheapest marketing mastermind you'll ever get. Because I don't want you to just be able to post on TikTok when you're done with this. I don't want you to just be able to post on TikTok and then when that stops being trendy, it stops working. I want you to be able to take the information you learn from this and take it anywhere, whether that is, you know, Snapchat's shorts feature, because there's a Snapchat feature that's like the same, it's the same as the TikTok feed, but it's Snapchat Spotlight. I want you to be able to take it to Facebook Reels. I want you to be able to take it to YouTube Shorts. I want you to be able to take it to Pinterest, right? So, but the number one thing you have to do is be consistent and post consistently. And I don't mean you have to post manually 5 times a day and then message everybody back and then be working on this for 6 hours a day. What I mean is, if you're using AuthorScale, if you've got your accounts optimized and you're using AuthorScale for it, set up your posts for every day. Take a day where you're working for 2 hours on AuthorScale and get your posts for the next 2 weeks going up. Okay. Sydney, if you've got one on Instagram that's at 78K and it's connected to your Facebook account, then you should be able to select that and run an ad directly off that video. And it can run an ad directly off of that video through Facebook and Instagram because they are run off the same platform. If it has already, that's a really good fucking video, okay? Absolutely run an ad on it, especially if it's the first in a series, or is attached to an extended series. Like for this series, for example, if book 2 went viral, I could still run an ad off of it because people will go back and read book 1 because they want to learn about the characters that they're seeing in book 2. Because they're all interconnected, but they read as standalones. So yes, absolutely. If something goes that viral, use it as an ad, but you should be able to do it directly off that piece of content through the Meta Ads platform. You should be able to select that piece of content that you posted organically and turn it into an ad. And that's how I would repurpose it, because then when people see it, they're seeing that it already has 78,000 views. They're seeing that it already has 7,000 or 10,000 likes or whatever. So that gives it social proof and gets people more likely to buy it and gets you a lot more bang for your buck on the ads as well. For running ads, 10,000 or more. 10,000 or more views is what I run ads on, and that's what I've been saying since 2023.
We also have we have another interview with it, I think 2 weeks ago, with an author who is also running ads, and she's showing her screen and the setup of her ads and how she's doing it. Might be one source you also want to check when running your ads, unless you already know how to set up your ad, what are the
Right.
settings to pick, because there's also some art to it and some things to consider, what to optimize for, and when to be charged, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I saw somebody say on a private FaceTime and a bourbon, I do offer private consultations. They're quite a bit more expensive than my courses, but it is something I offer. And most people who do my private consultations end up making a crap ton more money after doing those. I have one lady who her books that were 2 years old hit the top 100 on Amazon after doing a private consultation with me every week for a month. I have one lady who did 2 months and her book went so viral that a trad publisher contacted her, and her books became available in Walmart, Target, Books A Million, everywhere. Like I could walk, she's from a different part of the country than I am, and I could walk into my Walmart and her book was on the shelf. Because of the conversations we had, because of the work we did together. So I do offer private consultations. They're expensive, but they work. So you just have to email me, and you can do that through my website if that's something you want to do for real. But also, if you're joking, that's fine too.
I don't think people are joking. You're getting a lot of compliments. You've been incredibly helpful and generous. Thank you. Another one. This has been amazing. Thank you for sharing so freely. Again, thank you so much for your time. This has been awesome. I think people have been enjoying it. We're gonna wrap it up, because
Yeah.
otherwise I'm gonna fall.
And I will lose my voice. It's
Kate
starting
is
to go.
gonna.
I can feel it.
But it's something we can do again, Kate. The doors are always open, and collaborating with you has been very very fruitful so far, and
Oh,
we
like
really
that cool
appreciate you.
thing we collaborated on called Zero AI Mode?
Exactly, yeah. Maybe for the audience to understand that Kate and us, we have been collaborating on the Zero AI mode, which is a mode of AuthorScale that doesn't have any AI whatsoever included. So you write your own hooks, you write your own, you select your own excerpts from the book, basically what Kate did on screen before. But in order to use the Zero AI mode, you need to have some level of experience. You need to understand how to write good hooks. You need to understand where to pick the scenes from, which is why we partnered with Kate, because she's the expert in the industry about all of that, and we're very proud to have you as a partner, Kate.
It's true. I'm very good at my job. And my cat just knocked down a bunch of cards. Thank you, cat. I appreciate it. You're the worst.
All
Yeah,
right,
come on,
Kate
Scooch. All
and
right. Bye,
Jack.
everybody.
It was awesome having you. Bye, Jack. Bye, Kate. Bye, everyone. And one last comment here. To be honest, I had walked away from AuthorScale and then came back to look after hearing about Zero Eye mode. So yeah, that's a good testament.
Yep.
We've built AuthorScale based on the feedback that we're getting from authors, and um, it was feedback that we were hearing from authors, especially the more on the pro side, that they were not using any AI features. So we partnered with Kate to really perfect this Zero AI mode. And again, if you plan to use Zero AI mode, you need to have some understanding of how to write hooks, and their Kate is a really really good resource to check out.
Right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for showing up. I had lots of fun chatting. I'm a very chatty person, if you could not tell. So I had a lot of fun. And thank you so much, Marvin, for having me.
Thanks everyone. The pleasure was ours.